Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. Could the Fed set silver soaring in 2023? Well, that is what the topic of this video is today. We all know that the dollar is inevitably going to collapse and precious metals will always come out on top. Silver stackers will always get the last laugh. There's nothing they can do to fix this problem. The dollar's lost 98% of its original purchasing power. We are $30 trillion in debt, and that's only going to get worse. The only alternative is precious metals. That is the only way you're going to be able to preserve your wealth. It's not only just a hedge against inflation, it's wealth preservation. It's like putting your money in a time capsule. But anyways, regardless, let's look at the next year, 2023, what could happen. There's actually a video that goes along with this article we're going to go into. Brings up two different points that could push silver up, that could make it rally. Now, I started the video right where he goes into this, which could set the price flying. Anytime we talk about price predictions or forecasts, take it with a grain of salt, because the unknown variables are the most important factors that we cannot predict. We don't have a crystal ball. A wrench always gets thrown in and changes things dramatically. But we do know one thing, regardless of what happens, over the next 5-10 years, I could guarantee that silver is going to be the one that comes out on top. So, with that said, the link to this article will be in the description. If you want to subscribe to a channel that posts daily silver stacking videos every single day, giving you the newest, latest, freshest, most up-to-date recent information in the world of precious metals, more specifically silver, then please subscribe. If you like this video, then please like the video. With that said, let's talk silver. Could the Fed set silver soaring in 2023? Let's break down this article and then I'll share the video in a second. Please stay along because we even have some more stuff to talk about at the end. Last week, the FOMC minutes showed that the Fed now saw a U.S. recession for 2023 as pretty much a base case. And this was a surprise revelation and allowed markets to sell the USD in the expectation that the Fed will be less aggressive in hiking rates now. Markets now only expect a 50 BPS hike at the Fed's December meeting. Before the Fed meets, there are a couple of crucial economic data points, and that's what what is going to be happening this week. Now, you got to remember, every time the FOMC meeting comes out, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell comes out and says they expect, right? They always use words like expect or their goal or, yada, yada, yada. Those numbers aren't always accurate. Actually, most of the time, that's not even really what happens, but people will invest off of or make their decisions off of or assume that it will happen, when in reality, usually that doesn't happen, and then after the numbers do come out or the data does come out, then the market's correct to that. So a lot of it is based off speculation. You guys know I hate that S word in a market that should be based more on fundamentals. Regardless, though, you got to remember that as well. So if we miss on the US PCE data or miss on the NFP data, then the market will start to expect a dovish Fed on December 14th. And if all that moves that way, the USD will likely fall lower, real yields drop, and that should set fire under silver. We know there's a direct negative correlation between the dollar index and silver. When the dollar index is high, silver's low, and vice versa. And they're saying that if this does happen, this would push the dollar dramatically lower, hence push silver higher. Silver has some great seasonals ahead too. Over the last 25 years, between December 14th and February 20th, silver has gained 80% of those times for an average return of 7.84%. From a seasonal perspective, this offers one of the best times to enter the silver market. So they're saying, from a seasonal perspective, right now is a great entry point. Now let's look at silver's price actually. Let's go over here. Let's look at this real quick. This is another pretty interesting article, but regardless, let's look at this. So right now, the one-day chart, silver's broke up to $22.60. If you look at just a month ago where it was sitting, down $19.16, now up to $22.60. it's definitely looking like a rally is starting to break through, and I think that isn't going to stop anytime soon. I mean, just looking at the 1 day chart, you could see it was down $21.24, now up to $22.40, even 60 cents within a day. For precious metals, that's a very high percentage change. We're not talking about crypto. We're not even talking about stocks. Precious metals is definitely slower paced. You don't see, what you don't see gold and silver doing what Bitcoin does within a month's time. So this is definitely something that is that could be already starting to take place, and this would even make that, set this in stone, in motion. A lot of people are bullish for 2023. A lot of people are bearish for 2023. I've covered a lot of different articles from people saying silver's not going to do much next year for for X, Y, and Z. Other people saying silver's going to do great next year for X, Y, and Z. Always got to remember, though, the unknown variable. And that's the main thing people never incorporate. So let's look at the trade risk. The major trade risk is that the Fed keeps hiking aggressively. US inflation keeps rising and yields increase, and all of these factors are a natural headwind for silver. So let's go into this video now and let's see what this guy has to say.
First of all, we have the US PCE print, and then we have non-farm payrolls on Friday. Both of these data points are going to be crucial. If we see a miss in the core PCE print and a miss in the NFP data, then that will likely result in the dollar falling, real yields falling, and that should set a fire under silver. Silver does have some great seasonals too. Notice how over the last 25 years, between December the 14th and February the 20th, silver has gained 80% of the time during that period for an average return of over 7.5%. So from a seasonal perspective, this also offers one of the very best times to enter the silver market. Major trade risk. The major trade risk here, of course, is that the Fed keep hiking aggressively, US inflation keeps rising, yields increase, and all of these factors are a natural headwind for silver.
So before we jump into this next article talking about why silver prices fell as protests against lockdowns in China sparked demand concerns, I want you to answer this question in the comment section below. What do you think silver's price is going to do in 2023? Let's say, by the end of the year 2023. Do you think silver is going to be above $30? Do you think it's going to be, low 20s like it is now? And why? Right? The why is the most important part of the answer. I could sit here and say silver is going to be $45 by the end of 2023. But if I don't explain why, I'm not really saying much, right? And I want you guys to be realistic, right? Realistically, silver's not going to break above $100 within a couple of months, right? Not even by the end of the year, next year, in my opinion. That's way too fast. That's extreme overbought territory, and it needs to correct, right? It has to be more of a gradual approach. You never want something to just go up, 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 because then it goes down, 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 down. Corrections are actually healthy, right? It needs to go up a little bit, and even right now, for the rally right now, here, let's look at this. Let's, for example, right now, silver's up to $22.54. If it just keeps going up like this, then it's going to crash, and it would crash very hard and take a long time for it to recover. It needs to go up a little bit, let's say $22.80, then back down to low 22s, and then maybe it could go up to $24, $25, heading to the end of the year. But then if it keeps going up past 25, heading into 2023, let's say it goes to 30, 35 without really, slowing down the pace at all, then it's going to crash hard, right? It needs to go up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little more, down a little more. That's why you see silver when it exploded in 2011, or let's say even 1980. That's why it collapsed, and it took years for it to recover. Look at Bitcoin back in like 2016. It went from like $1,500 to $16,000 within, several months. That's why it collapsed and took years for it to recover, because that was extreme overbought territory. It didn't really take time to build. There was no price stability. There was no stabilizing. So that's why when you hear people talk about triple digit silver in the next 6 months, if it does that, yeah, it would be great, but there'd be a huge, huge collapse, correction afterwards. So, anyways, let's look at this article. The link to this article will also be in the description. Let's talk silver. Silver fell as protests against lockdowns in China sparked demand concerns. Silver yesterday, which this article was written yesterday. So silver 2 days ago settled down by negative 1.28%. And that's after these protests against widespread lockdowns in China curbed rising infections, which sparked demand concerns. Global consumption of the white metal is expected to hit a new all-time high in 2022, right? And we're talking about 1.21 billion ounces. India has 50%, their demand is 50% higher this year alone. I don't know if that is going to follow into next year, but regardless, a lot of people want silver. Everyone wants a slice of the silver pie. There's just not that much pie to go around, and not only from the investment sector, but the industrial sector. And then when you incorporate how rapidly we're jumping into the green new era, right? This new digital era. If we exceeded 1.21 billion ounces this year, imagine in 5 years what the demand would look like. And we could already barely keep up with demand this year alone. Actually, this is one of the biggest supply deficits we've seen. We're talking about ever. So, anyways, let's keep going into this. And this all-time high was driven by post situational, and I don't like saying these words because it will automatically, suppress my video, but post situation, quote unquote, industrial and physical investment demand. And at the same time, the world's government commitments to green technologies lifted the overall demand outlook for the commodity in the longer term. And that's what I've always been talking about, right? The world's government commitments to green technologies and electric vehicles and solar panels, silver lithium ion batteries, 5G towers. Literally everything needs silver, not only just in technology, but in the medical world. There's colloidal silver, right? I mean, there's silver nanoparticles. Silver is used in everything. Signs of low supply also supported prices as COMEX inventories fell 70% in the last 18 months to just over 1 million tons. Also, the LBMA Associates stockpiles fell for the 10th straight month to a record low of 27,000 tons in November. I mean, think about this, guys. 70% on the COMEX, and then LBMA stockpiles falling for the 10th straight month in a row to a record low. Right? So this is crazy. And we're just getting started, folks. Aside from the demand-supply dynamics, prospects of a less aggressive tightening from major central banks, particularly the Federal Reserve, also lent optimism to silver bulls. So we have the fundamentals, the supply and demand dynamics, plus the monetary side of things, the financial side of things, with the Federal Reserve and tightening from major central banks. So silver's getting hit from both angles, both making it look extremely bullish. The stars are aligning. And this is a lot of what I've been talking about lately, for years actually, was the fundamentals, right? I've been talking about the silver shortage for years now, and finally mainstream media is starting to catch on as well. It's like, oh yeah, this actually is a serious problem. Maybe they weren't exaggerating. The numbers don't lie, folks. You could try to speculate, theorize, and assume, but when I'm coming out here with facts showing below ground supply versus above ground supply versus global demand, incorporating recycling and all this other stuff, even as silver is a byproduct and the ratio it comes out of the Earth's crust and how much is thrown away, I mean, that is something that is not just, you can't debate that, right? You can't debate that type of stuff. A lot of people tried to, though. Now, finally, though, it's looking like people are understanding why silver is such a critical, or the critical role that silver does play moving forwards, and how that's going to affect the price, especially the suppressed price. If you think $22 for an ounce of silver is a natural price or a fair price, I don't know what you're smoking. So particularly, the Federal Reserve also lent optimism to silver bulls. So distributive trade surveys retail sales balance in the UK slumped 37 points to negative 19 in November 2022, and that's pointing to a sharp decline in sales. So yeah, right now, let's I guess we covered most of this. Right now, it's looking like silver is starting to rally a bit. We don't know how long that's going to last for the immediate term. But you know, me, if I'm not planning on selling for 10, 15, 20 years or ever, then why in the world would I want the price to go up right now? You know, the only reason someone would want the price of silver to go up right now is if they lack faith in it. They need that validation, that confirmation that silver can go up, but true silver stackers know it will go up. Right? We don't need to see the price go up for us to feel happy. We're actually more happy when the price is low because we could just buy more of it for cheaper because we know eventually it will go back upwards. And a lot of people lack that perspective, and that's why when silver's price is up to $30, everyone's buying it. But when it's down to $15, $20, nobody wants to buy it except for, you know, you and I. Right? When silver was $11 in March of 2020, I was telling everyone this is the best opportunity you're ever going to get, probably ever again, right? And there was proof behind that since the gold to silver ratio was 125 to 1 during that time span, meaning that was the cheapest silver's ever been compared to gold ever throughout history. We'll be reading about that ratio in history books 50 years from now. Right, because silver will never be that cheap compared to gold. Actually, I could see silver catching up to gold tenfold right now, talking about the ratio it comes out of the Earth's crust 7 to 1, talking about the ratio it's been for thousands of years, which is 16 to 1, talking about in 1930 when FDR changed the ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1 basically overnight, single-handedly devalued silver. We're never going to see that type of ratio again. Regardless of what gold's doing, I could see silver doing what it does, because since gold basically just sits around as a monetary metal, silver is used for everything. It has extremely beneficial uses as we move forwards in this new green era, but gold really doesn't really do much, kind of just sits around. Yes, some gold is used in technology. I used to scrap gold out of cell phones, but we're talking about a very small percentage of gold, where silver mostly is an industrial metal, a little bit of a monetary metal as well. So moving forwards, silver is definitely the better play in my opinion. I see a lot more potential and opportunity with silver, and that's why my name is Silver Slayer and not Gold Slayer. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. The two links to these articles, which the first one is talking about if the Fed or how the Fed might set silver soaring in 2023. The second article talking about how silver prices fell with these protests against lockdowns in China sparked demand concerns. And also remember, I want you to answer this question on what you think silver is going to do by the end of 2023. Now, the bottom left-hand corner, that is the best place to buy silver. That is Miles Franklin. Andy Schechtman is the CEO. You probably saw him on my channel or Robert Kiyosaki's channel or Wall Street Silver's channel or anywhere else. He's one of the big dogs. He can find silver where no one else can because he has connections. He still works with the U.S. Mint, one of the only few authorized dealers, as the U.S. Mint basically banned everyone, cut off everyone from buying directly from them. Not only the public, but dealers as well. So I highly recommend building a business relationship through them and let them know Silver Slayer sent you. Helps me out and help you out as well. And I think I'm honored to be able to offer you to buy and build through a company like that instead of just buying from some random website you don't know who's behind the screen filling. They'll get to know you. They'll get to know your name. You guys can chit chat. They can help you with stuff. I mean, it's a great company. There's a reason why. They've never had a negative complaint in over 45 years. There's reasons for this stuff, why they're so respected in the precious metals world. So yeah, anyways, thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.